This segment of Naperville Sports Weekly is brought to you by the Daily Herald.
I am here with Coach Albanese of the girls lacrosse team at Neuqua Valley. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
So first thing I want to start off with is you were the head coach at Naperville Central for 3 years. Last year you came over to Neuqua. What was the transition like coming over from a Naperville school to another Naperville school?
Well, it's definitely not hard because you're in the same area, but I think the hard part is when you do play each other, you do see your old players, and you've built those relationships with those girls, and they're always going to be your players whether you're their coach or not. So it's always different when you're playing against your old girls, but it's also great because I lucked out. I have a great group of girls at Neuqua. So as far as adjusting from team to team, it hasn't been too hard. I'd say the biggest challenge is just always seeing your old players. So
was that first matchup a little weird?
Yeah, I have to say it was. Where
was it at, the first one? Was it at Central or Neuqua?
Actually, we played them at a tournament, St. Francis tournament, but we ended up playing them 3 times that year. So it was, so we played them at the tournament, our conference game, and then they were our first round of playoffs last year.
Oh, wow.
So to see them 3 times, it was a little tough.
Yeah.
But it's been good, and every time we see them, I always say hello, ask how they're doing, what their plans are for college, just like I would my girls here at Neuqua. So.
Lacrosse for girls is not a IHSA sport yet, and next year it's going to be, but District 204 has not approved it yet. If it's not approved by next year, what will happen with Neuqua?
So essentially then what happens is it would just remain a club sport, which is kind of difficult. Neuqua has been a club sport for the past 15 years, so it's nothing new, But the difficult part is that we wouldn't be allowed to compete in the state tournament, which essentially we wouldn't be able to compete against those higher tiered teams, which is what we want to do.
Yeah.
So I think it's very crucial that it does get approved, and we're hoping, and I know there's a lot of push in the community, and there are a lot of parents working to make that happen. So now we just kind of cross our fingers and hope that 204 puts us through, because we want to be included just like every other sport. So
now you're early on in this season, 6 games played so far. What have you seen out of this team so far this year that you really like?
I have such a great mix of girls. The chemistry between them all is great. They all mesh very well, and I have 6 freshmen, 5 sophomores, 4 juniors, and only 3 seniors, so we're a pretty young team. But just the way they work together, there's a lot of talent. The freshmen have come in already playing, 4+ years. But I just think they work great together. There's no animosity on the team. Everyone's really cohesive. And I think that makes all the difference in the world, on top of the lacrosse skills that they already have. So I lucked out. I got a great squad this year, and there's only 18 of them. So we're a small group, but we're a great group. So
with such a young team, you're going to be good for years to come because you're good now and you still have young talent. What's it like? I guess how do you balance it with, you're going to be good later on, but because the seniors want to win now, there's no next year for them. Right. How do you balance I know we're still building for the future, but we're also building right now. Right.
So with that, I guess I have to say that I don't even want to say we're going to be great for years, because you never know. A girl may decide she doesn't want to play anymore or anything like that. So I don't like to get complacent at the idea of, we're going to be great for years, that's just not my personality, So it's play every game like it's your last game. That's something I really try and push to my girls, and also really try and push that, each game is bigger than just you. So it's bigger than just you getting a goal or your stats, or, it's about all of us, because at the end of the season, there is no more season for some of the girls. And, so it's trying to teach them to be selfless, which I think is a great thing that all these girls do. There's no one's selfish, no one's out for themselves. They're just a great team, and there's a great bond among them. So
What do you think is different about this year's team as opposed to your first year with Neuqua last year?
Well, I definitely say the biggest thing is just the amount of talent the amount of freshmen that we had come in with already having played so many years. I think we have a couple of them have at least played about 5 years. And so, I mean, typically, like you saw one of my seniors, she didn't start playing till sophomore year.
Yeah.
So to have that is a huge difference, and I think that's something you're starting to see become more common in the lacrosse world because it is such a fast-growing sport.
Oh yeah. Very.
So I think that is a huge difference. Practices can run smoother. You're spending more time on just running intense drills as opposed to having to stop and explain basic skills. So I just think our productivity has been up. Our practices can be a little more, fast-paced is what we need to compete against those high-ranking schools, which is what we're shooting for this year.
Did you set goals for the team this year as a team and any individual goals for people?
Yes, I always have a day where we sit down as a team, we discuss what goals we want to achieve and how we're going to achieve them, so what's it going to take to reach those goals, but also I have each player write individual goals for themselves, so 3 goals for lacrosse, something that they want to improve in, achieve, or accomplish this year, and also individual goals, things that they want to accomplish in their personal life, because I think your work ethic on the field says a lot about how you are as a person off the field. So to really push them to, work hard, chase those dreams, and achieve those goals, and I think that's a very important part. So.
How did you get started in lacrosse for coaching? Because you didn't play. You told me that before. You didn't play when you were growing up. How did you get started?
It's kind of funny. I grew up with a wrestling background and started coaching my senior year and coached the youth program for 3 years from my senior year on.
Senior year of high school?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's when I first got my feet wet. I really liked it. I liked working with the younger kids. It was a ton of fun, and I just loved coaching, which I guess is what pursued me to go to college for teaching. So when I was student teaching, my cooperating teacher at the time was the varsity coach at Neuqua. And she asked me if I would be interested in coaching, and I looked at her as like, I know nothing about lacrosse. And she said something that has always kind of stuck with me, which was, how to coach, you can learn a sport, which is I find very true, So I was lucky and fortunate enough to coach at a young age, so I can kind of develop my style of coaching and my philosophies and beliefs and what I think is important. And, so a lot of people ask, is it difficult to coach a sport you've never played? And the answer is yes and no. So it's difficult at times because I don't have stick skills, but at the same time, I understand the sport. I feel like I know what it takes to have a winning team. So here I am 7 years later, still doing it, and I love every second of it. So
that makes a lot of sense too. With your cooperating teacher said is a lot of people know the sport, but a lot of people can't deal with the people they need to coach.
Right.
So you gotta deal with people first.
Right. Because I've actually, there have been coaches before that have played, but then when they go to coach, their communication with the players is kind of off and things like that. So I think the communication with your players is huge. Like I said, it would be great if I could, actually show stick skills myself. But that would never happen. But no, I've always lucked out. Lacrosse has been a sport where, they're just a different breed. They're great girls. And they're always willing to help do extra, and that's helped me a lot in my years of coaching.
How would you define yourself as a coach?
Asking questions about myself. I would have to say I'm a firm coach, but I'm a fun coach. I'm an honest coach, but I'm a fair coach. I try and find the happy medium, I guess. We're obviously here to play a sport and try and win games and work towards, finishing high in the state finals. But at the same time, we're dealing with high school girls here. I don't I don't want this to I guess run their life. I ask them to be very dedicated, and it's difficult sometimes because they are involved in other activities and sometimes they overlap, which is difficult, but I understand. So I guess it's just trying to find the happy medium of, the girls know your expectations. You hold them accountable for being there and improving and working on what they need to work on and staying focused in practice. But at the same time, you got to let them know that you're human and you're not a drill sergeant. And, you pick and choose when you want to have your fun times. There are times we need to get to work, but times we can kind of just enjoy each other's company. And I think that helps with the team bonding as well.
The last thing I want to ask is, talking to your 3 captains, senior captains, the silent practice.
Yes.
I want to hear what was, because you obviously weren't happy because they were trying to pull a little prank.
Yeah, and see, that's one of those situations where it's, you got to pick and choose when is the right time and when's the wrong time. And I believe we had a game the day before, and then we had a game the following day. So we had a game Tuesday, we had one practice Wednesday, and then we had a tough game coming up on Thursday. So,
No
walking up, it's like I was very, very, ready. Like, okay, we gotta get to business. And I walk up, and I'm like, what is going on here? And they're all just laying there, and I stood there in silence for a couple seconds, and then they kind of start laughing, and I was like, guys, this is not the time. Like, this is not the time. We need to be focused. We can't be doing this. So we did silent warm-ups, and I guess that's the good thing with my players is. They know I do like to have fun, but when they know like I'm serious, they kind of hunker down and stay focused. And I rely a lot on the captains to make sure the underclassmen or the rest of the team is just on the same level. And especially the seniors, this is it for them. They want to win. So it's just that fine line between, it's that happy medium, right time and wrong time, and it's just the wrong time. But I think we did. Okay.
It just seemed like a funny story, and hearing it from both sides is always fun.
Right. Yeah, I get their intentions, but it was just, if it was a date where we didn't have a game the next day, I probably would have laughed it off. But, I don't want them to get complacent and stay focused on what we're trying to work towards as a team. So.
Well, good luck the rest of the season. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
The weather gets a little bit better. And so
Fingers crossed.
More practices like this.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.